Go to the Layer menu in Affinity Photo and select New Layer. Then go to the Gradient tool. There's a Gradient tool there, and I'm just going to quickly create a gradient. Now I'm going to go for a circular one, or radial, perfectly reasonable, and just change that around, move it around. And I'm now going to select from this. I'm just going to go over here to the selections, and I could use any of them. Maybe rectangular marquee tool. Elliptical, fine as well. Make certain you go for the add option, just there. It was originally, for some weird reason, it suddenly changed to new. Very strange. I suppose because I changed it from elliptical to rectangular, so it just refreshes it, puts it back. Anyway, slight odd feature, but you can create multiple selections like this. You can hold down the shift, make squares, etc. if you wish. And with that, you've got all these lines. Well, what you can now do is you can go to Edit and Copy and Paste. And of course, you can create any other selection. It doesn't have to be this sort of selection. And with that, I've got, so let's just select and deselect so you don't see that. You see, it doesn't look any change. However, I can resize it and you can see that obviously you've got the lines there as you can move it around. Well, you can go and apply some maybe effects as well. So you can go for, say, for 3D, so you can create a bit of 3D depth there, maybe bevel and emboss. And I'm going to go for pillow option, and you can change profile, etc. And you've got this design. What you can also do is you can duplicate it, but you can duplicate it specially. You can go for duplicate linked. So duplicate linked, and you can see then you can create these additional. Now you can also set up a shortcut obviously for it. For some weird reason my version never seems to have the shortcut, even though I created the shortcut. I come back to it a couple of weeks later and it doesn't have the shortcut. Very strange. Duplicate linked. It's obviously one of those ones that doesn't want to remain there. So right, once you've done all that, you can modify it, you can resize it. It doesn't matter if you resize it. If you resize it, that does not affect the actual linking. And you can rotate it, of course. You can do other things as well. But also what you can do, you can go to Filters and Distort and Deform. And I'm just deforming this one here. I'm just going to quickly add some pins. Now, avoid going over the edge. You can go over the edge, but of course what happens then is you end up with these sharp lines in it. So you can just stretch it. Now, I've done this one very, very close to the middle, so to make certain I do not go over the edge. But you can stretch it, distort it, and you can see as you distort it, this all just sort of goes out like that, and you can just stretch it off that way. Again, be careful, just avoid going over the edge. Now, some of these will go over the edge because they're quite close to the edge. It's going to be quite possible to do that. So now I'm just going to quickly create that. But it shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter as long as you do this one that you're working on doesn't go over the edge, because it all will work on that. But you can create some very abstract shapes, even from just rectangles. So you've got this, it looks very sort of Picasso-like design very quickly. Click OK. And you can see the design there. And then what you can do, you can still move that around, resize it. You can move these ones around, resize it. And you can see they're not cut off around the edge. That's the key thing. Just make certain, like there, it's all the layer information is still there, as long as you work from one in the center and avoid going over the edge with the central one. You can then manipulate the others and they will all be stretched, and doesn't matter. They won't end up with sort of the lines getting cut off, which is not what you want particularly, unless that's what you want, of course. Perfectly reasonable if that's what you want. But there you are. You've got a very abstract design, very sort of, I don't know what period, surreal, whatever you want to call it, 1940s, 1930s design, I'm quite certain that could be created there. And that's using the duplicate linked. And of course, you can always still go and create another one. So layer, duplicate linked, and you've got another one there. So you can build up even more and maybe shrink that one down and maybe rotate that and then distort that one. Decide, you know what, I want to go and I'm just going to do this, but it might go wrong because it's quite possible. You can always use repeat deform. And hopefully it won't. And it will obviously take some time to process it. It might even crash. No, it works. So you can create even more distorted designs. Sometimes I love the repeat deform things. It's one of those ones that I always hold my breath and I don't know if it's going to actually generate something or it's just going to come out with something that doesn't look much. But it does obviously take a bit of processing power, as you could see just then, to do it. But it's done that on all of those layers. They've all been changed in exactly the same way. And you can create some very abstract designs. And of course, you could always If you want to risk it, play it again and run it again. But of course, the more you stretch it, the more you distort it, it's going to look probably not so great. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.